Good evening, everyone. It's so nice to have so many people at our June meeting. I won't pretend it's for the board, but thank you for being here. Tonight, as we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, I just ask that you remain standing for a few moments to honor the victims of the mass shootings in Uvalde, Texas, and in Buffalo. Please stand. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So this past May, the 2022-2023 budget passed, so thank you to the community. We'd like to congratulate Lynn Abramson and Jack Ostrick on their election to the Board of Education, and we would like to congratulate Tom Rotolo for being reelected.
Thank you, Tracy. And tonight, actually, we have tenured for all our tenured teachers, but I'd also like to recognize our tenure of Tracy Frankel and Rob Gershon. Can I take a few minutes? Is that fine? We're all going to just say a couple of words. Tracy, 9 years is a long time to be on the school board. It shows your character and commitment to the district and to the community. You've done a great job balancing your family, your career, and the board, which is not easy. I know that you believe in a higher purpose, and your time is very valuable, and you've made the most of your time on the board. Volunteering is something that comes from the heart and soul, and it takes a special person to put themselves out there and to give of themselves for the greater good of the community at large. Making this sacrifice has also taken a lot of time away from your own children. So Noah and Ava, you should be very proud of your mother. She is a special lady. I know she loves and adores both of you. She's very proud of both of you because she's always talking about you. Tracy, your leadership on the board through difficult times has been steadfast. You've always been professional. You've never wavered from your core values. You've always kept the community, the students, the parents, and the teachers' best interest at heart. I know whatever you're going to do next, you will be successful at that too. Thank you for your time, commitment, contribution to life at Syosset. It's greatly appreciated, and you will be missed dearly. You're welcome. Rob?
Thanks. Oh.
Rob, 9 years is also a long time. Honestly, I feel like I'm doing the best man speech at the Tracy and Rob wedding. I've known them for so long. I don't want to repeat myself, but all the qualities that I said about Tracy, of course, also apply to you, Rob. Your commitment to the community has been equally impressive. You have your own style. You've always been professional. You're easygoing. You're always smiling. You're happy. You've contributed to improving the life in our community. You've done a great job at your work-life balance, which is not an easy task, especially when you have your own practice. You have a beautiful family, and the board is a lot to juggle. But you've always done it with grace, smarts, and being level-headed. You always bring a balanced perspective to problem solving and are willing to listen to everybody, and you try to find the best solution for all in a very pragmatic way. It's an honor to serve with you. Pam, Josh, Sarah, thank you for sharing Rob with us. And the board and the district and the community all thank you.
We want to speak about Tracy.
We're going to be, you want to talk about Tracy now? Okay. All right. I can't overstate just how difficult it is for me to accept that Tracy, this is your last Board of Education meeting as a trustee. Your tenure on the board is nothing less than a thrilling roller coaster ride. We as a board have shared with you the inclines, descents, sharp turns, sharp curves and turns, all of which have made this journey unforgettable. And those who are passionate find themselves smiling and satisfied as the ride finishes. It takes a strong team to accomplish what we have to date. But more than that, it takes a strong leader with great integrity, fairness, respect, professionalism, and a clear vision. You deserve every bit of credit for and should take great pride in the leadership role you graciously provided us. Warren Bennett famously stated, "Leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality." And Tracy, you've done it. You've left a lasting imprint on all of us. We will miss you. Thank you, Tracy. And Rob, this is a very tough one for me. Throughout the 9 years as a trustee, you have been both vocal on the board, advocating for our children, our staff, and our Syosset learning community. I consider you one of our most exemplary colleagues that champions diversity and inclusion with passion. You were never afraid to speak up, as you understood clearly that your opinion represents a part of the community, and you have always been the voice of reason. As a team, we are most grateful for your dedicated leadership, service, and great accomplishments. As an individual, I thank you for your friendship, and you will be missed. Thank you, Rob.
To Rob and Tracy, I just wanted to say, first of all, I echo what Tom and Carol have said about the two of you. I have only had the privilege of working with the both of you for this 1 year, and that's very unfortunate. I wish I had more years ahead to look forward to working with the two of you. However, I just want to say a big thank you to the both of you for welcoming me on the board and teaching me this past year and answering all of my questions and being there for not only me, but obviously everybody else that's up here. Thank you for your service for the last 9 years. I know how much work and dedication it takes to do this quote-unquote job, but you guys have done it for the last 9 years, so that in itself, I just want to say thank you. I respect the both of you, and I look forward to our friendships going forward. So thank you.
Tracy and Rob, thank you for your sacrifice, your dedication. You've been examples of what a trustee should be in a school district, and you've set the bar pretty high for all of us. And thank you for our district. We've benefited so much from your knowledge, your experience, and your wisdom, so thank you. And your work on the diversity and inclusivity in our demographically changing district has set the tone for the embracing diversity, making it strength. So thank you. And I know that this work will allow all of us to call Syosset our home, so thank you. And thank you for 9 years, and we expect to see you here every month. None of that I will see you on the live stream, right? Thank you.
Rob, you have been such an incredible asset to Syosset. Your hard work and dedication is evident in all you do. Your rational, reasonable, and always smart comments were extremely valued by the board. Words can't describe just how grateful I am to have served with you for the last 2 years. Your guidance and your leadership were invaluable. Syosset has been incredibly lucky to have you these past 9 years. Syosset is better for you having been a trustee. Together with Tracy, you helped transform the board, you brought transparency and responsiveness to the community, and you always advocated for the children and community. You will be greatly missed. And then for Tracy, where can I start? You are the backbone of the board, our shining light. Your heart and your dedication is evident in everything you have done. Your strong moral compass is apparent in all of your actions. You bring out the best in everyone, encouraging them to be the best version of themselves, always willing to lend a hand. We are going to miss your willingness to answer any and all questions, your unwavering dedication to advocating for the community, and your flawless leadership. Your calm demeanor and ability to handle any curveball thrown your way has served this community well. We are going to greatly miss your level head as much as we will miss your kindness and your dedication. Both of you are amazing. We're going to miss you.
I'll be a lot shorter. That was great. And you know I can talk, so I just wanted to say a quick thank you to both of you. I know we've only had a chance to do this for 1 year, but having been in this position for that year and seeing the time and the work that's involved, I appreciate even more the fact that you've done this for 9 times that. You've heard this a lot, but 9 years is a really long time, so thank you so much for that time, for your effort. You really, as a volunteer, have made this community a better place, and your dedication to the children will never be forgotten. Thank you.
And to wrap it up, Tracy and Rob, when I think of your tenure on the board, I think about a series of significant and at times volatile transitions you lived through and worked through, to put it lightly. I vividly remember 9 years ago when both of you first got elected. Seems like light years away, considering how different the times were and how different the district was, the way you found it. Your very first task was monumental, hiring Syosset's next superintendent. And as we all agree, you found the gem. So I want to congratulate you on that job well done. I'm sure being school board members and later on president and vice president entailed more than you bargained for initially. In a large and a very diverse community such as ours, it is not always easy to make decisions that will be supported unequivocally and overwhelmingly by all. It was especially difficult during this past couple of years of navigating through the uncharted territories of the pandemic and a very intense political climate. However, it is your professionalism, dedication, and grounded decision-making, with students' well-being always at the fore, are major contributing factors to what has made Syosset one of the top public school districts in the country. And I just can't stress it enough to echo everyone. Very often people forget that being a board trustee is a volunteer position that requires commitment of a real job, that inevitably takes away time from your own personal and family commitments. So I want to thank you guys, Tracy and Rob, for taking this position very seriously and putting the needs of the students and staff first. I truly hope you enjoy the free time and discover new things in life, or things that you forgot existed or you couldn't get to. Thank you both for giving up a chunk of your busy lives to better our district and its mission, and for giving our students an uninterrupted and exceptional educational experience despite any outside challenges. Enjoy your next endeavors, whatever they might be. Thank you.
And there's more, Tracy. Tracy, we'd like to present you, on behalf of the board, the Distinguished Service Award.
Oh, thank you. Okay. And Rob, on behalf of the board, I'd like to present you with this Distinguished School Board Service Award. Thank you for your service. And then,
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Thank you. Can I say some words? First, I'd like to say some words about Tracy, myself. Tracy, you have been such a great friend and fellow school board member these past 9 years, and it has been my honor and joy to serve with you. Incidentally, I take full credit for you becoming a board member. As you may recall, I asked you to run with me and Bill at Susan Falco's New Year's Eve party a decade ago, and you immediately said yes, and the rest was history. Well, everyone knows that you're an expert writer who captures every detail, and I am, let's say, substantially more succinct. I do have some things that I would like to say. We bonded first through our shared experience running for the board, and then as we learned the ropes on our own that first year after being elected, you, me, and Susan Parker joined the board as new board members and relied on each other as we navigated our way through a board in transition from one that was improperly led by the superintendent at that time to one that actually leads itself. Your meticulous approach to decision-making from that time has provided an outstanding model for future leaders and has served us well. You have a gift for being able to respond quickly, particularly to questions posed by the public. I've always enjoyed collaborating with you, and I know that we will continue to exchange ideas and share advice with one another. It would have been so much more difficult without you on the board all of these years. You have been an exemplary trustee and a strong leader of this board. You have patience and compassion when dealing with concerns raised by the community. Your ability to manage multiple responsibilities effectively and efficiently is an inspiration, and you did this all while essentially being a single parent. You have given so much to the Syosset School District as you supported the students, parents, teachers, and administration. You're intelligent, kind, trustworthy, funny, and an absolute pleasure to work with. The entire Syosset community, the board, and I have benefited immensely from your devoted service, and I'm honored to call you my friend. And now I just want to say a few words about my years on the board. It's hard to believe that this is my final meeting as a Syosset School Board trustee. After 9 years, well over 100 monthly meetings, and a lot more gray hairs, being on the school board has become part of the fabric of my life. I've learned so much over the years, and I'm proud of the progress that we achieved. The composition of the board has changed slightly year after year, allowing me to work with so many great people. We shared the common goal of improving this already great school district we know of as Syosset. The accomplishments over 9 years are quite staggering. When I was first elected to the board in 2013 with Tracy Frankel and Susan Parker, we were immediately thrown into a chaotic situation when the superintendent at the time abruptly resigned just hours prior to the reorganization meeting in July. The next day, I reached out to someone who knew Ron Friedman. Then Ron offered his vast experience to us in a time of urgent need, agreeing to come on board for a transition year while we conducted our extensive search for a new superintendent. 1 year later, we were fortunate enough to hire Dr. Rogers, and it was by far the best decision that this school board has ever made. While I couldn't possibly list all of the great accomplishments over the last 9 years, I would be remiss if I didn't go through some of the ones that, in my opinion, stand out. Tracy and I initially ran for the board seeking more transparency. Back then, it could take a month to get a response from the school board administration. Now, it's as simple as emailing the board a question or showing up at audience to the public. We also started radio broadcasting of the meetings, eventually leading to the streaming of them. In addition, we now have the Syosset Pride, which is mailed to all residents, a genuine audience to the public, and Dr. Rogers' weekly emails. The goal of becoming a lighthouse district came to fruition. Our academic and arts programs are considered outstanding and nationally recognized. We expanded the use of instructional technology, coding, and the robotics program. We distributed Chromebooks to all students and upgraded them later on. We further developed our social emotional learning curriculum and hired additional clinical staff to better support the mental health of our students. There was the energy performance contract and improvements to the schools, including the replacements of many roofs, air conditioning, filtering, solar panels, door upgrades, a turf field, the addition of tennis courts, and of course the high school fitness center. There have been just so many facilities improvements, the list just goes on and on. In addition, we devoted lots of attention to security upgrades over the years to keep our staff and students safe. We kept our debt low and the tax levy under the allowable state cap year after year. We made our voice heard in opposition when tax abatements were sought by businesses within our district. Our COVID response was strong. Classes were up and running in less than a week after the shutdown. We established 2 COVID testing facilities within our district to make it convenient for our community members to get tested. Of course, there are some goals that have not been achieved, and that part will fall upon the current and incoming board members. Among these goals are a later start time for the high school students, the commencement of fundraising for Syosset through a foundation which was approved 1 year ago, and the ongoing work towards a culturally responsive school community. The composition of our students has changed considerably since I first came onto the board. White students no longer represent a majority here. We have a more diverse student body, and it's important that all students and families feel like they're properly represented. We have the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusivity Task Force. Our curriculum has evolved, and the values of inclusivity and openness to diversity have been incorporated. Further, our staff itself has become more diverse over the years, all the way through. Fortunately, our school board, too, has become somewhat more diverse. Going forward, I would hope that this board will choose to lead the school district by example when it comes to diversity and inclusivity. In closing, I know that I will always reflect positively regarding my years of service to the Syosset School District. It was well worth the time sacrifice given our wonderful community. Of course, it would not have been possible without my wife, Pam. She, too, had to make sacrifices in not having me around to assist with our children when I had to attend to board duties. I would also like to thank Dr. Rogers for all the tireless work he has done over the years. Thank you also to the other administrators that we have had, including Adele Bavard, Teresa Curry, and Patricia Rufo. Thank you also to the Council of PTAs for all your support these past 9 years. Thank you to Fran Benjamin, who is indispensable to this board in communications and planning. Thank you to the principals and teachers of Syosset, who not only enrich the lives of all the students in our community, but have served as mentors and inspirations to my 2 children, Sarah and Josh. Thank you to the students and families in this community. It has been my absolute honor and privilege to represent you. And finally, thank you to all my fellow school board trustees who are sitting here today and who have since retired. I know what you've been through. You know what it takes to be on this board. We accomplished great things here, and I'm confident that more greatness is to come.
Okay, so Rob spoiled it, but 9 years ago, Rob and our friend Bill Weiner approached me with the idea of joining them to run for the school board. Rob, you were so passionate from the get-go, and you truly believed that we could make a difference. In all these years, your passion never waned. Your leadership from day one has impacted this district in so many ways. As a champion of transparency, you led by example. You never shied away from sharing your point of view to the board and to the community. You were honest with your thoughts, and by doing that, the public and the board always knew where you stood. There is so much comfort in that. By sharing your opinions, engaging in frank discussions, and by bringing forth your ideas to improve our district, people knew that they could count on you to do the right thing for our students, staff, and community. You have been a leader in prioritizing diversity and inclusivity, both in the school buildings and on our board. You understood how important it is to not just say the words, but to show how much you mean them with action. I admire you so much for your convictions, your advocacy, and your heart. Throughout these years, your influence can be seen in all the positive progress we have made as a district. But I cannot leave here without telling you how much you have influenced me. Even before we were officers, I came to seek out your perspective because I knew that the only agenda you ever had was to do what was in the best interest of our students, because you could have a conversation without judgment, and because I knew that there was always a sensible rationale for your opinions. When we became officers, I knew that I could come to you for advice on how to handle tricky situations, and you were there to handle matters that called for someone with your unique strengths. I know that my ability to lead could not have been possible without your steady, supportive, and confident leadership right beside me. You are a terrific collaborator, teammate, and friend. And if anyone has the opportunity to work with you, I would advise them to take that opportunity immediately. I wish you only the best in your retirement from the board, and my deepest thanks for helping to make this district and me be the best we can be. Lastly, I recently had the opportunity to observe a school advisory class, and the lesson was gratitude, looking for the good even in difficult times. And as I sit here after 9 years on the Board of Education, I see so much good that has taken place, especially during the difficult times. On day one, as a board trustee, the district did not have a superintendent, and Rob Gershon, Susan Parker, and I did not have the luxury of easing into the job. We immediately got to work learning how to be helpful team members, learning how the district functions, while simultaneously searching for a superintendent and all new consultants, a task none of the board members had ever done. We all felt the weight of that responsibility. Finding someone who could elevate a school district that already enjoyed a reputation for being one of the best. I leave here knowing that there is no superintendent finer than Dr. Rogers. Thank you, Dr. Rogers. Despite these initial monumental challenges, we made sure that the goals we had from the start did not get sidelined while rebuilding was underway. Over these last 9 years, the district has become significantly more transparent than it ever was. Our once isolated school community began communicating and working with other districts for the betterment of public education as a whole, not just for us. We initiated committees and conducted workshops and forums that focused on allergies, district finances, facilities improvements, and diversity and inclusivity, among others. We have advocated to our elected officials in favor of environmental safety, faster resolutions for investigations into bias. We advocated against imbalanced pilot approvals and test-based accountability mandates on staff, to name a few. In these past 9 years, there have been many accomplishments, and I don't intend to list them here, but instead I want to focus on what I'm most proud of. I am proud that our school district directs so much attention to character, to empathy, and to giving back, because we are counting on those who have come after us to make this world stronger, kinder, and healthier than it is today. I am so proud that every incarnation of this board that I have been a part of has been dedicated to creating an environment where our students and staff can feel safe, understood, and accepted for who they are and for the value that they add to our school community. And if I can just take a minute to say that this work must continue to be a priority. Our students are going to have opportunities to live, learn, and work with people from all over the world. We must set them up to not only succeed in environments in which they are familiar, but to succeed in those unfamiliar environments as well. We want them to be kind, understanding, and to find ways not just to relate to people they encounter, but to appreciate what others have to offer. In addition to our diversity and inclusivity work, I'm proud that we have begun to incorporate restorative justice methods in response to inappropriate conduct so that our students can learn how to accept responsibility, learn to respect one another, and learn how to understand how their behaviors impact those around them. It's groundbreaking work, and it's proven to be more effective at changing behavior and mindsets than purely punitive-based consequences. I'm proud that our school district is a leader in trying to tackle the gender imbalance in careers like business and technology with intentional efforts beginning in elementary school through high school, and that we're seeing a difference in the population of our specialized courses as a result. The technology leap that we've made was tremendous and was a priority of the board in 2013. And because of those improvements, when the pandemic hit, we had the capability to keep our students learning and engaged no matter where they were located. The focus on technology has enabled our students to be that much more creative, thoughtful, and collaborative. I can't leave here without thanking our administrators and our staff and district clerk one last time. I'm not one who delivers praise without meaning it. Every compliment I ever gave you was genuinely given because you are extraordinary. And I shared that praise publicly throughout these 9 years because the community deserves to know how extraordinary you are. The connections you've made with our students that enabled them to come to you for advice, solace, or a laugh, the innovation that you have sought and achieved, the drive to improve, and the encouragement you give each other is inspirational and effective. I'm so thankful that I got to know so many of you these last 9 years, and I wish you continued success and support in the future. I'm at peace knowing that I'm leaving the district in a better place than I found it, and this is my wish for this board as well. We should always set goals and strive to meet them. There is always going to be opportunity to build on the ideas and successes of those who came before you. There is always going to be opportunity. I want to thank you in advance for continuing this work for our children and for embracing each other the way you have. I must thank my children, Noah and Ava, for their tremendous support, encouragement, and sacrifice. When I started this journey, my son was in the 3rd grade and my daughter in kindergarten. Now my son graduates and my daughter is in high school. In the beginning, they did not understand exactly what I was doing for the schools, and between my job and the school board, they just knew I couldn't serve lunch at Robbins Lane. But they learned, and they were proud, and they never complained. They encouraged me on the tough days, and they waited up for me after the long nights. I can't thank you enough. My parents are here tonight for their first board meeting, but their presence in my life is what enabled me to attend all of the meetings and events when my children were young. They stayed with my children when I could not be there. They led the carpools. They're the heroes in my village. Lastly, to the community, I will be forever grateful to you for giving me the opportunity to serve you in this way and for so long. It's been an honor and a privilege. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, approval of the minutes for May 9th, 2022. May I have a motion, please? Ms. Chang, seconded by Mr. Gershon. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? Approval of the minutes of May 17th, 2022. May I have a motion, please? Ms. Levitan, seconded by Mr. Rotolo. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? Dr. Rufo, please give us the treasurer's report and the foundation aid plan.
Okay, as indicated in the treasurer's report, the cash on hand for the month end April 30th, 2022 was $79,363,254.92. It also shows Bank balances for all cash accounts were reconciled to the book balances and were collateralized in accordance with the district's banking agreements and investment policy. And I just want to spend a minute or so discussing foundation aid. And this is essentially a review of many of the items that we talked about during the budget. And one of the requirements, we talked about foundation aid and the additional foundation aid that the district is receiving for next year being about $4.5 million. And we are required to put together a plan, which we've been doing all through the budget process, and present that plan. So I'm just going to go through some of the items that the $4.5 million is going to support. So a significant portion of the money is going to provide support for students who are not meeting or at risk of not meeting state learning standards. We talked about during the budget process expanding opportunities for summer school. We're purchasing supplies and materials and technology that will assist students. We have allocation for additional teachers, and we have additional allocations for tutors, for software, for BOCES services. And we're continuing our instructional technology to focus on those students needing additional support. We talked a lot about the allocations and our efforts at addressing students' social and emotional health. We have an allocation in the budget to expand our community connections, to assist in streamlining the mental health responses for those students that need it. We are also hiring a full-time and a part-time social worker, and we're paying for those in the grant, and this additional foundation aid enabled that by bringing some of the expenses currently charged to that grant into the general fund. The third area that we're addressing with the additional foundation aid is for students with disabilities. We talked extensively about expanding the integrated co-teaching model. We have additional allocations in 2023 for tutor staff, teaching aides, and additional academic interventions, individual targeted specific tutoring. We also have additional allocation for BOCES services to support our students. The entire plan will be posted to the district website, and that will be up very soon. And that concludes the report.
Thank you, Dr. Rufo. May I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report? Ms. Kochia, seconded by Dr. Park. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. 7.1 is the appointment, we're taking this a bit early, to tenure for members of the administrative and/or certified staff. May I have a motion, please? Ms. Falco, seconded by Mr. Greco. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, please display the slide. Some of you may be joining us remotely, but for those of you that are joining us here, when you hear your name, please stand. Kevin Bonanno, Tyler Arnone, Danielle Barkavage, Emily Bellotti, Gabriel Cucciarulo, Dr. Jennifer Eastman, Jessica Fairbairn, Brooke Feld, Catherine Garvey, stay standing please, Victoria Goff, Christina Guillerme, Daniel Halbstein, Nicole Hine, Tracy Lichtenstein, Lauren Lamonaco, Kerry Mangione, William McCabe, Jenna Murray, Melissa Neenan, Laura Pelicom, Alexander Rass, Isabel Samoas, Jennifer Van Wickler, and Jill Weinberg. Well, congratulations to you all. This is a tremendous achievement. We're so proud of you up here, but you deserve this because you worked your tails off and you helped your colleagues and you helped your students. And all along the way, we believed in you and you believed in yourselves. And so we want to appreciate and thank you for what you've done so far. We welcome you to our family. And we wish you all the best in your future.
You didn't think you'd get away without a speech from me, too. It's said that friends are the family you choose for yourself, and earning tenure is a choice that the district makes. This is intentional. It is not easy, and it's not a sure thing either. So I want to tie together two events that are happening tonight. One, welcoming new permanent staff to the district. Two, saying goodbye to friends who have led the district for so long. And I think, and maybe some of the young people will overhear this as they're out in the lobby, that you have the opportunity to reflect on what the end looks like while you're still here in the beginning. And to be able to comment on what your body of work looks like and to hear how other people comment on what your body of work looks like and how you approach that work as you're doing it. You have an example of what to strive for. You have an opportunity to design what that looks like. I'm fond of a quote by Oyster Bay's native son, Teddy Roosevelt, who said, "The best gift that life has to offer is the opportunity to work hard at work worth doing." You have all been granted the opportunity to work with the next generation of young Syosset residents, but young Americans. And that, I can think of no work more worth doing than shaping that next generation. They're entrusted in your hands, and I hope that when you give your valedictory, as someday you will, that you'll be in a position to have the same opportunity to hear your colleagues speak so highly of you, and to be able to say that you feel like you've made a lasting impression and a lasting contribution on your fellow teachers, students, community. So with all of that, you have a great responsibility in front of you, but the fact that we've entrusted you with it means we already know you've got this. So congratulations. Now, because you're staff, you're waiting to take direction. And, well, most of you. This is the place where if you want to make a graceful exit with your families, you may. But if you would like to recognize some of our student athletes, that's what's next on the agenda. And there will be another opportunity for a graceful exit after we recognize the student athletes. If you want to stick around and applaud for some kids, hint, hint.
With that, Dr. Rogers, please begin your superintendent's report.
Thank you. So 3 times a year, we have a wonderful opportunity to recognize the success of our student athletes. And we all know how hard they work. They put in practices after work. They compete in tournaments and in games. They work so hard to encourage one another. And often, this is the culmination of work that happens not only at school, but in the community as well. So I'm going to introduce someone else who is going through a period of valedictory, our director of our athletic director, coordinator of health physical education, Mr. Drew Cronin. This will be his last meeting here in Syosset as he is retiring. with a similarly great body of work to his credit. So, Mr. Cronin, you and I started on the same day. I outlasted you. And you have done, and I have seen firsthand how you have transformed an already good program into a truly special one. And I am very appreciative for what you've done here in Syosset.
Thank you, Dr. Rogers, and thank you, Board of Education. It's been a pleasure to have worked here for the past 8 years. All the successes we've had have been fantastic, and once again, we could not have done that without your support. And the best thing is that you all come out to our games, and that's special. I know the kids appreciate that as well, so thank you all for all your support over the years. Tonight, we're going to be honoring some of our spring athletes. I'd like to just touch on a few of the highlights that we had from the spring. As you know, the spring is challenging. There's a lack of officials. We had to have later bus times, later start times, and it was a challenge because there were some canceled games because we didn't have officials, because we're really getting out of this pandemic. Our kids worked through it. Our coaches officiated when we needed them to. You know, as Dr. Rogers helped us out on a number of occasions throughout the year, officiating and helping us out, it all went together to create a successful year. Some of the highlights that I'd like to talk about, and I'll be brief, but boys tennis made it to the county finals. Boys lacrosse made it to the county finals. Girls lacrosse made it to the county finals. Lila Grubman will be going to the New York State meet. Girls spring track and field finished second in the Nassau County Championships. Girls spring track and field undefeated regular season, division champs, and conference champs. Badminton made it to the semifinals. Baseball made it to the playoffs, second round. Boys and girls golf made it to the postseason. Boys track and field will continue participating in the postseason. And softball made it to the playoffs as well. In other words, every team made it to the postseason, which is a tremendous accomplishment. So now we'll begin with our teams. Luca Catolo was unable to be recognized in the fall because the All-State Awards did not come out in time for the board meeting. So I'm going to read a brief blurb that Coach Rourke sent for Luca Catolo. Luca was a 3-year varsity starter. Luca flourished as he went from 9th grade on to 10th grade and 11th. As a sophomore, he became a major scoring threat in the conference, but in his junior and senior years is where he began to really stand out. He was a unanimous all-county selection both his junior and senior years. Coaches in the conference had tremendous respect for his ability to change the game on any given play. He displayed this countless times, but especially in critical situations versus Port Washington and Farmingdale. Both situations, Luca scored to seal the victory for Syosset. The accolades he received at the end of his junior year were significant as well. First team All-Long Island and the recipient of the New York Jets Receiver Award, which is presented to Nassau County's most outstanding receiver. He followed up in his senior year with the same 2 accolades, breaking the Nassau County record of career touchdowns, along with being named to the first team New York State All-Star team. Congratulations, Luca Catolo. I'd like to now bring up Coach Anderson, Dave Anderson, our softball coach, who will recognize Julia Rennie.
A truly great player makes those around them better. Julia Rennie is a great player. Julia is one of the best hitters.
Dave, would you mind speaking just a little closer to the microphone, because we don't want to miss a word.
You got it. So I was going to start off. A truly great player makes those around them better. Julia is a great player. Julia is one of the best hitters on Long Island, and despite missing a full season due to COVID, Julia holds almost every offensive record in the history of Syosset softball. In the last 2 years, Julia's hit 18 home runs, has 72 RBIs, and has hit close to 600 in roughly 36 games. Julia is a 3-time All-County player, a 2-time All-Long Island player, and a 2-time All-State player. And she is clearly one of the best hitters I've ever seen since I've been here. Julia has been clearly been instrumental in rebuilding our program. Julie will be playing Division I softball at Providence in the fall. And I just want to personally thank Julia for rebuilding the program and inspiring so many young players to play softball for our district. So thank you, Julia.
Now I'd like to bring up Coach Joe Taglia, who will represent boys lacrosse, Luca Accardo and Luca Catolo. Stand right here. Who's the last guy? I forgot. Introduce him.
All right, so first player I'd like to introduce, Luca Catolo. Unfortunately, couldn't be here tonight, but as you heard from Mr. Cronin, a superstar football player as well as an all-county lacrosse player. He's going to go continue his career at Quinnipiac. Next up, we have our goaltender, who also couldn't be here tonight. I guess he's preparing for a math test. Zach Finkelstein. He was the backbone of our team all season long. If you saw him play, especially during those playoffs, I mean, the kid was pulling in 15 or 20 saves a night. He just really carried us there at the end. He did a wonderful job. Here with me tonight, I have two-time varsity athlete, junior, Adam Giovinco. Adam is an important part of our offense, a great player, a wonderful human being. I've had the luxury of being able to know him and coach him since he's a little kid, and I'm extremely proud of him and the work that he did this season, and was named an all-county lacrosse player. Adam. Next up, one of the stalwarts of our defense, another junior, 2-year starter, AJ Zuleta. AJ is the kind of kid you always want to have on your team. He's a coachable player. He understands the schemes on defense, how to lead his teammates and his classmates, and just did a wonderful job for us this year. Number 50, AJ Zuleta, all county. And the last player I have here to honor tonight, I've had the pleasure of coaching for his entire high school career, 5 years, including JV, and 4 years on varsity lacrosse. He was our face-off guy. He was the leader of the pack. The reason that we were able to do anything we did was because we always had the ball. When the game was on the line in the county semifinals against Massapequa, it was in his hands, and then it was in the back of the net to send us to the championship. Two-time all-county lacrosse player, and now two-time all-American lacrosse player, continuing his career at High Point, Luca Accardo. Thank you.
Now I'd like to bring up Coach Rich Caffiero for boys track and field.
Good evening, Ms. Frankel, members of the Board of Education, Dr. Rogers, administration, and our Syosset community. The boys track and field team enjoyed a very successful spring season. Our team placed third at the county championships with some of the best performances in our biggest moments of the season. Over the course of the meet, we saw stellar performance after performance, with these athletes turning in their career best races and events and jumps and vaults when it mattered most. As coaches, we ask mainly two things from kids on our team when competing in the championship moments. Number one, to understand that pressure is a privilege. Not everyone gets a chance to be there when it matters most. And two, not to fear failure and not to be results-driven. Think about the process. We can't always control the outcome. And what was so awesome about our team county championship that night is these athletes in front of you, all of them had their best throw, their best race, their best jump ever. In some cases, that involves 12 different seasons of competing with us. Can't draw it up any better. Following athletes earned All County. The first one here is not pictured. It's his 18th birthday tonight, so he's with mom and dad out to dinner. That's Jake Miller in the 800. He was second. He ran 1:56 for the 800 meters. It's the third fastest time on Long Island, and he's the ultimate competitor and ultimate friend on our team. He'll be going to Northwestern next year. Jordan Altman. Jordan, take a step forward. Jordan had one of the best county meets in recent memory of any Syosset athlete for a long time. He tripled. He ran 3 events at the county championship. All in one day, he ran the 1600 in 4:31. Came back 2 hours later and went the 3200 in 9:54, earning All County in both events, and then anchored our 4x8 team to a second place finish, running 2:02. That's a stellar day. Ewan, take a step forward, please. Ewan Kang in the triple jump. In his last jump of his life, in a big moment, 41 feet, his best ever, finished second at the county championship. He'll be competing for Sonoma College next year. Jordan's a junior, Ewan's a senior. 4x800 meter relay team. Guys, step forward. It consists of Matt Gerosa, Jordan, and then Seth Zyman. What a wonderful race. It was a 14 race back and forth. We wound up second place, but Matt is a senior. He'll be going to Penn State. Matt, raise your hand. Penn State next year. Lifetime PR of 3 seconds in the 800, leading us off. Seth with his first All-County ever. He's a junior, so we're looking for bright things from him next year. Here's Coach Myers.
Thank you, Coach Cafiero. Thank you for allowing me to use my coach voice one more time. For most people say I use it all the time. And yes, Mr. Cronin, thank you for allowing me to come to speak again. Board of Education, everyone. We had 2 throwers this past winter. I wasn't able to speak about them that finished all state in the weight throw. That's Aaron Fischel, who is not here tonight. He's a senior who will be attending UMass in the fall to throw. And junior Parker Kim. Parker, take a step forward. Parker Kim, many of you who attend or work at the business office as you drive home at night, you probably, one of the last things you see is the discus hammer cage, and standing in the center of that hammer cage will be Parker Kim to 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, always practicing with his eye on the prize, always wanting to get better. This spring, after was an all-state finish in the weight throw, he threw 137 at the county championship at discus, his best throw of the season, and finished all county in the discus throw. But Parker's real passion is hammer throw, and next week he will be competing at the national championships down at UPenn. That is the New Balance national meet, where he ranks in the top 25% in the nation in the hammer throw. So good luck and congratulations to Parker. I do want to finish off once again congratulating our incredible athletic director, Mr. Drew Cronin, for his incredible years of service here. Not only he was my athletic director, but he was really a good friend of mine. And he told me something about teaching administration that I will always take to heart. Mr. Drew always allowed his coaches to coach. He said, you know what you're doing. You go out there and do it. I'm here just if you need help and guidance. That's something that I've always kind of taken my way as I was teaching, as I was running summer school, and now as the principal of Robbins Lane, knowing to let the teachers teach, do what they need to do because they know what they're doing. And that's something that Drew instilled in all of his coaches, and I think that's what really has allowed us to be an incredible program here as so many successful teams. So once again, I want to just acknowledge and thank Drew Cronin for all his years of service. Thank you, everybody. Boys, great job.
Great job, guys. Thank you, Coach Myers, for the kind words. Now I'd like to bring up Lauren Lamonaco, our girls lacrosse coach and new mom. Hi, Lauren.
All right. This is Mom's Night Out for me. I'm really excited to be here. Good evening, Ms. Frankel, members of the Board of Education, Dr. Rogers, administration, and community members. Girls Lacrosse was fortunate enough to honor and recognize 3 players this season with all-county awards. Megan Kitagawa, a 5-year varsity player who led the team in points, was the top 100 player to watch on Long Island and one of the most talented players I've seen come through our program. She will continue her lacrosse career at Yale University. Kristen Igneri, who could not be here tonight but was a 4-year varsity player, played every position this year for us and for the team and did whatever we asked of her. She always had a team-first mentality. She'll be continuing her lacrosse career at Lafayette College. Megan Igneri, a 4-year varsity player, was one of the top assist leaders in Nassau County, is always ready to rumble, and will be continuing her lacrosse career alongside her sister at Lafayette College. These 3 were captains and undoubtedly the heart and soul that led our varsity team to greatness this year. We will miss them as Braves and wish them the best of luck with everything they do. Congratulations, ladies.
Great job, ladies. Congratulations, Lauren. Now I'd like to bring up Coach Nicole Hoffman, who will be representing women's track and field. Coach Spiteri could not be here this evening. Hi, Coach.
Good evening, everyone. Ms. Frankel, members of the Board of Education, Dr. Rogers, administration, and community members who are here tonight to honor our athletes. The varsity girls track and field team had a very successful season. They finished the regular season undefeated and won both the division and conference championship titles. At the county championship meet, they finished second overall in a very close competition. Throughout this season, these athletes put a tremendous amount of dedication and effort into their performances. Samantha Smith, a senior who will be attending and competing for the University of Pennsylvania, was the individual county champion in the pole vault, jumping 10 feet. Senior Lila Grubman, who will be attending and playing basketball for Yale University, was victorious in both the high jump and long jump, jumping 5 feet 2 inches and 16 feet 8 inches respectively. Lila just represented Syosset in the high jump at the New York State Track and Field Championships this past weekend. Melissa Tanieri had a very successful first spring season, placing third and earning all county honors in the 1,500 meters, running 5 minutes and 8 seconds. Tracy Freeman earned third place and all county honors competing in the pentathlon, which takes place over 2 days and is made up of 5 different events. Kian Kayamit earned third place, running 12.97 seconds in the 100-meter dash to cap off a very successful season in the sprints. Finally, the 4x100-meter relay team of Samantha Smith, Lila Grubman, Krista Ferraro, and Kian Kayamit earned all county honors as they finished third, running 52.49 seconds. All the coaches are extremely proud of these girls' accomplishments and the progress they made individually and collectively as teammates throughout this entire season. One of my favorite parts about this team is their ability to support and prioritize each other more than themselves. These are truly admirable qualities to see high schoolers exhibit. Congratulations once again, girls. Thank you very much.
You guys, when you after you get your certificate, swing around for a picture. Turn around and face this way. Perfect. Thank you. Great job, girls. Go ahead and smile. There you go. Great job, ladies. It's been a pleasure. Now I'd like to bring up Mr. Dan Barkavage. Congratulations on your tenure, Dan. He'll be presenting for varsity baseball.
Good evening, Dr. Rogers, members of the board. Thank you for having us tonight. Congratulations, Mr. Gershon and Mrs. Frankel, on completing your tenure here on the board. Tonight, we'd like to recognize Alex Larson as being named of one of the top baseball players in Nassau County this season. He's been a 3-year varsity member and has been regarded as one of the best pitchers in our conference and in Nassau County and Long Island over the past 2 years. He's been one of our best players, our hardest workers, and he has been a tremendous example to all of the younger athletes that we have in our program. He's a guy that has not missed anything in the years that he's been playing for us. He is in the weight room whenever we ask him to be, and he's one of the guys that actually goes and competes for the high school mathletes team, and then will show up a little bit late to our weight room, and quickly a lot of the younger guys are going to turn around and say, "Hey, where's Alex Larson?" He's just coming from Mathletes. He'll be here in a few minutes. He shows up. You see some eyes light up, and the kids are impressed with what he's competing with outside of baseball, and then when he gets into the weight room, and then when that translates onto the field, and he's regarded as one of the best athletes we have. Coach Tommy Mort, the head coach of our program, since he can't be here tonight, he'd also sends his congratulations to you, Alex. We're tremendously happy for you. We can't wait to see you compete at the next level and further your academic and athletic career at Johns Hopkins University, which is no small feat. We're very proud of you, and congratulations again.
Thank you, guys. Great job. Next, going to discuss Troy Sanchez, who's on the boys golf team. Coach Strohmeyer could not be with us this evening, but he did write a brief blurb. Is Troy here? There he is. Come on down, Troy. Congratulations. Mr. Strohmeyer wrote a brief blurb. I'm going to read it word for word. He should be a playwright in his next life. Troy was all-county last year and this past season. Troy did qualify for the state tournament last year, finished top 9 in Nassau County. Would have gone up to Cornell, but they didn't have the states last year due to COVID. Finished 15th this past season. Most importantly, Troy was selected as the recipient of the Chick Evans Scholarship Award issued by the Western Golf Association for scholastic achievement and leadership. Troy was up in Nantucket caddying the past 4 summers after multiple written essays and interviews. He is the recipient of a full scholarship to the University of Notre Dame, tuition, room, board, books, the works, a fantastic achievement. He's a fantastic young man, a perfect representative of the Syosset boys golf program, and we could not be more proud of him. Congratulations, Troy. Great job. All right. We're going to get a pic, you and I. Nutty Professor. I'd now like to bring up Shai Fisher, our tennis coach for both men and women. And for this, he'll be represented by Anish, who should be with him, and multiple other players. Come on down, Shai. Anish.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education, members of the administration, parents, teachers, and students. I'm proud to talk to you tonight about some of the achievements in the boys' tennis program this past spring. We had 2 boys earn all-county recognition, 8th grader Nikki Shah and 9th grader Shiv Chadha. Both Nikki and Shiv had excellent regular season playing first doubles, which helped them get entry into the county tournament. They then won their first 3 matches in the tournament, making it to the quarterfinals to earn all county, which in 8th and 9th grade is never easy to do. They're only in 8th and 9th grade. Congratulations to both Shiv and Nikki once again on your all-county status. We also had one young man earn all-state honors in singles, junior Ansh Chadha. Ansh has played in the county tournament for 3 years now, each year improving on the previous year's result. Ansh advanced all the way into the semifinals this year, which earned him all-state honors. I can talk more about his all-state tennis accolades, but to me, what's even more important are his accomplishments off the court. He's a junior captain that leads by example, supports each and every teammate, has the utmost respect of each opponent and opposing coach, and does everything he can for our tennis program. So, Ansh, while all-state is amazing, everything, when it comes to his character, is immeasurable. Congratulations again, Ansh Chadha.
Congratulations. Well done, boys. We're now going to bring up Abigail Wu for girls golf. Coach Bobby Kopp could not be here this evening, but if Abigail is with us, come on down. Coach Kopp wrote a brief summary. Congratulations. Right over here. Abigail was all-county this year, finished 10th in the county, first alternate for the states, 42.5 9-hole average, outstanding. Played number 1 on the team each match this season. 8-3 is her individual record for the year, and was an outstanding leader of our women's golf program. Coach Kopp would just like to say congratulations on everything you accomplished, as would I, and thank you for coming out. You did a wonderful job this year. Abigail Wu, girls golf. Now I'd like to bring up Mr. Jamie St. John, who is our coach for women's badminton.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'd like to say congratulations to our tenured teachers. I know most of them left. and also to Drew, doing a wonderful job as athletic director over the last 8 years. I'm here tonight to talk about Selena Chen. Selena earned a varsity position last year at second doubles as a freshman, which is very difficult to do here at Syosset. Every year, if you don't know, we have over 60 girls that try out for our team, where we have 11 varsity positions. This year, she was able to win our ladder tournament and become a first singles player. She has tremendous work ethic. She trains hard throughout our entire 2.5-hour practice, 6 days a week. With the county tournament, there were 43 girls that entered the Nassau County Girls Singles Badminton Tournament. And Selena earned top 8, which makes her all-county out of all of the schools in Nassau County. As it turns out, Selena's only losses were to other all-county players this year. Selena is a true leader on the team, and I can't wait to see how she does next year. One last point. This is Tristan Wong. He is our manager. He's also on the boys varsity badminton team. So whenever anything is spoken about badminton, you'll find Tristan there. He was at every one of our practices. He came to all of our matches, and he's been there to help train Selena along the way. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
So in conclusion, just like to say once again, it's been a wonderful 8 years here with all of you. I will not take up more of the time this evening, but just want you to know that I appreciate everything you've done for myself, my career, my family, and it felt like a family here. So thank you once again.
This is your second and final graceful exit opportunity. Exits from here on out are at your own peril. So we'll spend a couple of seconds setting up the next PowerPoint presentation, but obviously tonight is a celebration of service. It's a celebration of new family members, and it is a celebration for our kids of healthy minds and healthy bodies. So we've heard a little bit about healthy bodies with our athletes and their accomplishments. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the accomplishments in our academic program, specifically in the area of STEM, an acronym that stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. And when I arrived at Syosset 8 years ago, the board had big ambitions for what they wanted to see happen with the STEM programs here. They put a very meaty goal on my plate, and we've been hard at work at that ever since. So this is a little bit of a report to the board on the progress that we've made against the ambitious goals you gave us.
There we go. Good evening. I want to start by congratulating my colleague, Drew Cronin. I've really enjoyed working with Drew, and I'm going to miss him next year, and I want to congratulate him on all of his success. I'd also like to congratulate Ms. Frankel and Mr. Gershon on a wonderful tenure on the board. And thanks to you guys, we're streaming now, so this will be a prime time presentation. So thank you for that. So good evening, Dr. Rogers, Mr. Cardillo, Dr. Curry, administrators, and trustees of the Board of Education. I'm very excited to be here this evening and to discuss the exciting work that's taking place in STEM across all of our schools. Syosset has really always enjoyed an excellent reputation in STEM, but this is Syosset, and we're never stagnant. Starting in 2016, the board asked us to enhance an already strong set of STEM programs. Many of the board's goals at this point are in full maturation. So tonight, we're really proud to show you some of the progress we've had towards achieving your vision. First, we want to show you the evolution of STEM in Syosset over the past several years. We will also spotlight some of the student work that's representative of this evolution. And lastly, we want to give you a preview of some of the future STEM projects in our district, or what we like to call STEM 3.0. So our district mission is to prepare students for a future we imagine. And there's no way to imagine any future without STEM. These fields are uniquely situated to not only prepare our students for the future we imagine, but they'll also advance society and change our world. In order to accomplish this district mission, we empower students to be creative and adaptive learners. We want our schools to be places where students can build knowledge, as well as their capacity to think critically. And in order to accomplish these goals, we obviously need to build programs that are innovative and engaging to all students in every building. So we're going to give you a glimpse of what this looks like across all of our schools. We're going to start at the elementary level and progress through high school. And now I'm happy to introduce my colleague, Dr. Genova, who will detail our STEM progression at the elementary level.
Good evening. When the board looked at our STEM program years ago, in mathematics, we found ourselves in a mature stage of use of our Go Math resource. And teachers and students were well adapted to the expectations of the Common Core standards and their assessments. We had mastered the cookbook, and the board challenged us to iterate and innovate. With this vision, we responded by integrating modern technology like ST Math, where students solve puzzles featuring the penguin character Gigi you see on these slides. This software enables all K-5 students to engage in mathematical thinking regardless of their reading ability. Technology like ST Math leveraged our one-to-one Chromebook initiative and provided fluency support alongside challenge puzzles for enrichment purposes. Critical thinking in students has been augmented as students now continue to gain procedural fluency and also think about mathematics flexibly. IXL enables all students to solve problems individually and get loads of quality feedback, accelerating their learning. Another product of our STEM evolution has been multiple project-based curriculum writing projects that have created opportunities for all kids to solve novel problems while learning and using STEM content on demand. Students are demonstrating more creativity, collaborating powerfully, and communicating their learning in new ways. The resulting experience is richer and puts our students in position to play the part of scientist, mathematician, or engineer. Pictured above, students are converting units of measure and working with angles to code ozobots along a dance floor. This is simply not a problem task that a workbook can never replicate. What's special is that students had to hypothesize and test their thinking in cycles to achieve a goal, just as scientists do. On the right, wearing red, were students at a recent STEAM day designing their classmates' tasks to create a critter with a given set of constraints and criteria. What's worth highlighting is that students use their learning of STEM to design tasks for their schoolmates to complete. Our teachers coached these young learners to become expert enough that their transfer task was the success of another class. Students are continuing to learn math and STEM at a high level, and they're doing it more collaboratively and with more creativity than we've ever seen before. The way students are communicating with clarity and demonstrating their critical thinking is simply remarkable and a strong signal of what's to come. Thinking about what our growth implies for Syosset elementary learners that we haven't met yet is exciting. We're seeing our youngest students demonstrate more creativity as they're learning sophisticated concepts in sync with changes we've made. You can see above that students are making model eyes based on a dissection that they previously performed on a sheep's eye. These model eyes are functional lenses with retinas, not dioramas or kits. The insight that students gain from this kind of experiential learning is more memorable and aligned with how STEM professionals prototype in the field. The second photo shows a student working with a device to program as a game controller and code it to respond appropriately to user-prescribed inputs. The cycles of hypothesis, test, and revise that students are engaging in represents the transfer of their learning to a tangible STEM task. This experience is the best feedback to help all our kids grow. On the right, fifth graders designed new packaging to be able to ship a single potato chip undamaged through the mail. Their task was to optimize the packaging design, looking for the minimum packaging needed in terms of weight and surface area using their knowledge of mathematics, science, and engineering. The collaboration and communication between students lifts all learners' capabilities, as once again they're in position to earn valuable mathematical and scientific insight that can't be replicated. My colleague, Mr. Laverso, will continue this story at the middle school.
So we began the process of transitioning to the new science standards in 2016. And when we started, our middle schools covered one science content area per grade level. For example, in 6th grade, we did life science. In 7th grade, we learned physical science. And in 8th grade, our students covered earth science. And over the past 6 years, we've redesigned that somewhat. And the way our students learn science in middle school is changing. Instead of organizing around content, we've organized our grade levels around different cross-cutting concepts. And these are the universal themes that unite the scientific disciplines. For example, you have patterns, cause and effect, scale and proportionality, systems, energy and matter, structure dictating function, as well as stability and change. So I'd like to highlight one of those examples for us. In 6th grade, we do systems. This year, we're organizing 6th grade around systems and systems models. So our students in Syosset are going to encounter a lot of different systems across all content areas. In math, they'll cover systems of equations. In social studies, they'll cover systems of government. But in 6th grade this year, we've taken some of the content we would normally cover in middle school and organized it around this theme of systems. So when students are learning about cells and organelles, they're learning about how these combine to create a small-scale system, and then they use this information to discuss how the cell can act like a city system. When they covered the Earth, Sun, and Moon systems, they're thinking about moon phases in terms of how it fits into the larger solar system. When they learn about body systems, they're learning about how organs contribute to the functioning of different physiological systems, as well as using that information to diagnose patients. And lastly, when they learn about forces in motion, they're learning about the systems in which these forces are acting upon. These are the types of experiences that give students a head start when it comes to thinking about the more advanced challenges that they're going to face and experience in high school. Dr. Genova is going to talk a little bit more about the STEM experience in high school.
So when we started this work, we had an excellent STEM program that elevated students to great heights. We also learned that our students were growing both in number and their capacity, splitting the seams of our existing research labs. Thanks to the district's commitment to STEM, we've augmented and improved our lab spaces so that we're hosting more in-house research than ever before. The second photo shows students from Syosset High School conducting research in one of our newly renovated laboratories. This investment brought the timeline for students' advanced research projects forward, making it possible for our sophomores to perform work that is on par with the rigor of some college sophomores. You'll see a sample of that in a moment. The third picture shows one of our newest improvements, a cutting-edge CNC machine that will allow our students and teachers to program and produce custom components for their research, robots, drones, and any need that their future coursework presents. So I'd like to share a brief video clip composed by one of our sophomore students, Kira Cozy. Usually we present research that's been fully vetted in one decoration, and this is actually a sneak peek at a not yet submitted project that's very exciting. As you watch, I ask you to consider how our fully integrated STEM program facilitates the kinds of discoveries across the content areas being made.
Hi, my name is Kira Cozy, and I am a sophomore from Syosset High School. This year, my project was on encryption methods and specifically solving the hairpin problem within DNA cryptography. So to start off with, what is DNA cryptography? This is simply just a method of concealing information within a physical DNA strand. This could be emails that you have with your friend Sue. This could be movies because you don't want to pay $50 on iCloud storage, or you could do more malicious things, such as hacking into DNA sequencers. This basically just takes whatever message or code you're trying to translate, it turns it into binary and then into DNA bases. So on the right, you can see a model of my own program, which does this. It randomly assigns a binary sequence to however many characters you want. And it'll also do this to the DNA bases so that they can be translated. So for example, if you see the letter I, it'll have its own palindromic sequence, and then using the key that it provides you with, it'll translate that into DNA bases. Now, there are two main problems with this. One, you could put your DNA on a sequencer and it could be read the wrong way, meaning that your message is completely useless if read backwards. Or B, this can form a DNA hairpin if you try to make it like a palindrome and be read both ways. Now, this happens because a DNA palindrome is so unique because it has your original set of bases and then the complementary on the other side instead of just repeating them in that manner. So with this, a DNA hairpin will form and then you can't sequence this. So I actually wrote a substitution code to try and change this so that it'll actually work. This targets the most common characters within a message. It creates 2 or more translations for these common characters. It assigns a random translation to both ends of the palindrome in order to prevent complete palindrome in those 2 locations or more. When combined into a greater program, this generates a random encryption with DNA strand each time. So on the stream, it basically just says cross-checking and DNA base buildup. These are 2 pieces of the code that help for this encryption software and overall allows you to synthesize your DNA and have it read both ways without creating a complete palindrome. So now you can hack into DNA sequencers or even just hold your message from Sue. Hi, my name...
So can you imagine where Kira is going to be in 2 years? Her progress, it's already awe-inspiring, it's complex, and it shows a really sophisticated combination of understanding of mathematics, computer science, biology, and cryptography. And what's even more exciting is that Kira isn't the only Syosset student composing work like this. So I'll turn it back to Mr. Laverso, who's going to speak about the ongoing advancement in our robotics program.
Hi,
I think we often think of the research program as science specific, but it really is an interdisciplinary program with students that do really wonderful projects in social science, technology, engineering, and of course math. And that one actually, Kira's project showcases the intersection between math and biology really well, although I struggle understanding some of it myself. So robotics is alive and well in Syosset. It's thriving. We have some exciting opportunities on the horizon, too, that I want to talk about. So since 2015, we've been working to give students experiences with coding and robotics and allow them to use these experiences to build a new literacy in different programming language. This starts with the use of Ozobots and Bbots in elementary schools, and we're going to be updating those over the next year. Our students experience learning progressions from here and going to the basics of coding to more advanced coding and robotics challenges. In middle school, our students use block code to use the EV3 Lego brick. We also have students that participate in the first Lego League Challenge in Long Island. For the past 7 years, our students have not only competed, but they've dominated in the first Technology Challenge. I used to think that you would only use dominated when you're talking about our teams on the field, but if you've watched our FTC teams on the fields with robotics, you would understand what I'm saying. One of our teams even advanced to the World Championship in 2018, and this year we had 2 Dean's List finalists that also were able to attend the World Championship. The program has grown tremendously since 2015, and I'm happy to share that we'll be expanding the program to include a first robotics challenge team next year. So at this level, our advanced robotics students will have a chance to engage in more advanced coding and engineering tasks, and they're advanced in both scale and complexity. These challenges are also interdisciplinary, requiring teams to engage in community outreach and marketing, and our students are very excited to begin this new chapter in our robotics program. And your support has been instrumental in allowing the program to grow, and it's grown a great deal in a very short time. In the time that I've been here, it's been incredible, and I've been here for 6 years. At the high school, we've continued to build our robotics curriculum. Students can take a full robotics sequence in high school, starting with System Robotics 1. Students have the opportunity to program and build their own drones in System Robotics 2, and currently the advanced robotics course in our sequence is Robotics Design and Engineering, or we call that RDE. which students can also take for college credit. We have some exciting new opportunities that are going to begin next year. First, starting this fall, we're going to be partnering with Long Island University to offer students an option for dual enrollment. Students can take System 2 drones and receive college credit for Introduction to Artificial Intelligence through Long Island University. We're very excited about this new partnership. It'll give our students access to their Dassault Systems platform. This will allow students to simulate different design features using very advanced analytics that approximate reality very well. This saves them time, it's safer, it's quicker, it's more cost effective, and it also ensures that our students get the most out of the engineering design process. Our teachers will be working with LIU to finalize the curriculum starting next week, and this work will continue throughout the summer. We're also developing a new robotics course called System Robotics 3 that'll be proposed next year. This will be an interdisciplinary course like the other two. However, in addition to teaming up technology with mathematics, we're also exploring opportunities to include our business department as well. This class will be designed to support students who have decided to join our new FRC teams. And as if all this wasn't enough, there are some additional potential courses that we're considering. We're developing a course in technical theater, which will combine the talents of our technology department as well as our art department to build sets and create special effects. That proposal will be submitted in the fall. We're working on it right now. And we're also going to be developing a course in patent law through a partnership with the technology department and business departments. This course will allow students to develop their own designs and understand how a patent is created, as well as the different laws that are in place to protect intellectual property. I want to thank you for your time and attention this evening. As you can see, STEM is alive and well in our schools. Not only are we preparing students for a future we imagine, we're also preparing students for the future that you envisioned. I want to thank you for sending us on this journey years ago and for continuing your support along the way. Dr. Genova and I are very grateful to have the opportunity to be a part of this work in Syosset. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for continuing to develop this program and keeping the board's mission in mind. It's tremendous work. It's very exciting, but I want to make sure that everybody knows how important it is that these presentations are given to us, how much we appreciate them here, because it allows us to understand the progress and see where we might want to go, where our needs might be. I love the fact that we keep our eyes, forward, that we're still thinking about new and improved classes. And I think one of the best things that we've done in all of these years that I've at least been a part of the board is this cross-cutting method. It's really tremendous. It's really giving our students such a deeper level of understanding of these core concepts and where they fit into the bigger picture. So we appreciate it. And also, now that we're streaming, it's giving the community an idea of what their kids are doing in their classrooms and the good work that you're doing. So thanks so much.
And I realize the hour is late, but I do want to amplify 2 points from that presentation. The first is the point, Ms. Franco, that you made earlier about thinking about gender balance in all of our programs, and where there are imbalances, asking the question why, and then subsequently asking the question why not, and seeing if we can rebalance things. And one of the strategies, which we went by quickly, was to try and introduce all students to STEM concepts like coding at the earliest age possible before gender-based stereotypes set in. So one of the strategies behind having a K-12 coding program is not just so students will learn more, but so that all students are learning together at a time when students are free to think of themselves in any way they want. Another point that I'd like to make, and we got to see a project in the making, and I'm hoping that there will be a translation of that project online at some point for us to be able to follow her logic. But the win is not necessarily winning in one of these national competitions, although we're incredibly proud of the students who do. The win is having a lot of students who are able to put together competition-worthy projects, because that means that they have accomplished the mission of learning so much science that their projects are worthy of being in the top competitions. So if they win, that's not up to us. We can't control the number of projects that win, but we can control the number of projects that are worthy of being in the competition in the first place. And so for every student that we celebrate for that win, know that there's 3, 4, 5 others that have done just as much work and have just as interesting projects that may not have tickled the judges that year, but were worthy of being in that competition, and those students deserve recognition as well. So we're well on our way. We're all appreciative of the hard work that you've put in to get us here. Just a couple of notes as we close this final meeting of the year. Obviously, our eyes are on summer school. That program planning has been underway. One of the things that we took on this year was redesigning summer school. We're calling it Summer School 2.0. And we're looking to take, again, this idea of freshness and excitement into the summer school program to keep it fun, keep it interesting, look at things in a new way. We've asked our teachers to submit ideas for courses that they would like to teach in summer school enrichment courses. And we hope to keep it fresh for the teachers and keep it fresh for our students as well. Because there's extensive work going on at the high school this summer, summer school will be held at HBT this summer. We're going to try and maintain the district pool open at the high school, but there will be some roofing work that's going to be done in that part of the school. So during those times when contractors are working overhead, it's not safe to be underneath them. So we will try and schedule that as much as we can so that the community has as much access as possible. We have been working with the town on some of the traffic issues on Southwoods Road. I know it's challenging at the 2 heavy times of the day. They did a traffic study back in January. We've been going back and forth with them and with our engineers on the traffic study, and again, hoping to find a way to manage the volume of traffic that is on Southwoods Road against the constraints like the 2-lane bridge that really constricts it, and see if there's a way that we can keep it safe but also keep traffic moving. And then, the Regents exams. This has been a bumpy year for Regents exams. The Regents canceled an exam earlier this month. The Regents also have been changing their emphasis on some of the rules around exams. So the school district, recognizing that, has made an adjustment to how we calculate course grades this year that will calculate the course grade both with the Regents exam incorporated into the grade and without the Regents exam incorporated into the grade, and will take the higher of those 2 grades. So this is sometimes called do no harm, but it basically means that your course grade can't go down with the Regents exam, but the exam will still reflect on your transcript. So this is certainly an opportunity for students to continue to try to do their best. And the Regents are in the process right now of having conversations about how graduation requirements in the state of New York may change in the future. And I don't have a good sense of the pace of that discussion and where it may land. So I'm anticipating a question might be, are we going to do this again next year? And the answer is, I don't know. I think we should wait and see how the discussion about what graduation requirements become, how that unfolds first before committing ourselves to any course of action. But for this year, and in recognition of the fact that so many other districts were doing it as well, it keeps our students on a level playing field, and so it's the right choice for this particular June. And I wanted to share both that fact and the rationale with the board for your information. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Rogers. Do board members have any questions for Dr. Rogers on the superintendent's report? Dr. Park?
Thank you for the report. I have 2 questions. I agree with you completely in terms of evening out the gender bias between regarding the coding and robotics and exposing them early on. So how many hours of the robotics and coding do elementary school and middle school students get? So that's my first question. And second question is, I'm very thankful that we are getting 1.5 social workers from the foundation aid. And just wondering, are we meeting the needs
do we need more social workers, or are we at a comfortable level of meeting all the needs for the students?
So with your indulgence, I'll answer those questions in reverse order, mostly because I don't know the answer to the first question, so I'm going to go with the one I do know. We are working towards getting to a place where we have one social worker assigned, hopefully, to each of the elementary buildings. We've been adding social workers every year since I've been here. When I arrived here, we had none. So we're ever mindful of student needs. We're ever mindful of trying to be good stewards of the community's resources, and we had an opportunity this year with some grant funds that allowed us to add additional capacity. And obviously it's not that there's a building that's uncovered. We share the staff among all the buildings, but at some point in the future I would like to see us get to a place where we have a little more capacity in this area, yes. And then on the first question, how many hours, I'm looking to see if Dr. Curry is prepared to answer that off the top of her head. Of course she is. So, Dr. Curry, would you mind using the microphone so that people who are streaming this at home will hear your answer as well?
Sure. I don't think it's okay. On average, our elementary students and middle school students have approximately 13 weeks of instruction each year, spread out throughout the year on different aspects of coding, robotics, and the integration of both.
Thank you, Dr. Curry. Why don't you take one of the seats in the front just in case there's another question I can't answer.
Are there any other questions for Dr. Rogers? Okay, you're safe.
Dr. Curry, you may resume the seating of your choice.
Okay, there are no legislative items. We will begin audience to the public. You can come to the podium if you are a district resident, and please limit your comments to 4 minutes, and if you need extra time, we will provide that to you after everyone else has come.
Hi, I'm Jill Biblow, 6 Harvard Drive in Woodbury, and I come to you all as a very, very thankful parent. My son Jake was born in 2001 with an extremely rare progressive disease that affects his smooth muscle tissue and vital organs. Jake is 1 in 60 worldwide with this disease, so let that statistic sink in. He's immobile, cognitively delayed, drooling from his strokes, and without the use of his left arm. He's also one of the happiest, sharpest, funniest, and lovable students to ever attend Syosset High School. And that is solely because of this community and our district's special education program. Deciding where to send Jake to school was a very difficult decision when he was a young boy. However, I believe that it was for the greater good for our typical students, staff, and community to see a person in a wheelchair. To realize diversity is a great thing. To see the joy in helping others, to be compassionate and grateful for what you have instead of for what you are missing. I believe over the past 15 years, Jake provided that to all. Thank you, retired AP Willits principal Mary Tabone, for surprising Jake when he was in kindergarten with an accessible swing set so he can feel included at recess. Thank you to all of the phenomenal related service providers, school psychologists, and special education teachers, including Lauren Rossi, Kim Gorman, Sue Bada, and Kristen Fuchs. Thank you, Wayne Burbert, for including Jake in your Regents U.S. History course, his most favorite subject. Thank you, Dave Anderson and Gary Silverman, for advising wonderful clubs for our special needs kids. Thank you, Dr. Durante, Chris Ruffini, Dave Steinberg, and Ray Gessner for always saying yes to anything special education. Thank you, Mary Lou Sapienza and Dr. Lamelza, for your tireless efforts and compassion towards these children and their families. Thank you to Dr. Rogers, our incredible board, and for SEPTA for always supporting our special education program. Last but not least, thank you to all of the aides. These are the true unsung heroes of our special education department. Jake is who he is because of all of you. I hope everyone's listening out there. And this remarkable community that has embraced him. It is now time for him to move on to adulthood and for me to let him go. Like any parent sending their kid off to child, I'm going to be a complete mess. But I know that Syosset provided Jake with all he needs to continue living his best life. Thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart.
I just want to follow up and say that Jake is one of the finest young men in Syosset. He invited my daughter to his prom, and I'll always hold him close to my heart. Thank you. Maria Simonello, and tonight, Cheryl Vecchio, the president of SEPTA, and I, we're going to do something a little unorthodox, an audience to the public, so please bear with us. Thank you, Dr. Rogers, Board of Education, Administration, and our Syosset community. The New York State PTA Distinguished Service Award was created to recognize outstanding contributions to the welfare of children and youth, or to a PTA association. I feel especially connected to this award winner because we embarked on our incredible journeys at approximately the same time. The Syosset Special Education PTA, SEPTA, felt compelled to acknowledge his work in this public community forum. When you have a child that learns differently, you are challenged each and every day to make decisions that are otherwise automatic for a typical student. You want to always make the best choice with the best outcome. But as you can imagine, there are many emotions at play. I remember I had a rather contentious meeting early in my special education journey. I was forced to table my meeting because I did not agree with the proposed course of action. No sooner did I put the key in my door did I find my phone ringing. It was a gentleman who introduced himself as the Assistant Superintendent for Pupil Personnel Service, Dr. Joseph Lamelza. He said, "I heard what happened at your meeting, and now I would like to hear your version." And oh boy, did he hear it. I was truly astonished. He immediately put me at ease, and I presented my facts and data. That's our inside joke. Dr. Lamelza and I came up with an agreeable plan. And as they say, the rest is history. I am proud to say how closely I worked with Dr. Lamelza as a fellow member and two-time Syosset Special Education PTA president, but mostly as a parent. He always graciously answered our many, many, many questions. Another inside joke, he would always say, "What's a meeting without Maria asking another question?" Together, we shared ideas and paved the way for new students entering the district. Together, we improved the transitions to the upper schools. Together, we improved the available technology for our students. Dr. Lamelza has been a loyal member of our SEPTA family for many years. When we would present issues to him, he listened and thoughtfully responded. He assisted us on highlighting the many wonderful special education teachers in our district and made sure to communicate the diverse programs and interventions available to our students.
I am reminded of a quote from Dr. Rogers when he first embarked on his Syosset journey. He said, "Syosset does many things well, but there is always room for improvement." And yes, Syosset had a good special education department, which has now been greatly improved in the many years under Dr. Lamelza's guidance. We were blessed with such a wonderful partner who always had the best interest of our students in mind. We are lucky to have so many wonderful programs and professionals he has recruited to assist our students. Please join the Syosset Special Education PTA in congratulating Dr. Joseph Lamelza, this year's New York State PTA Distinguished Service Award winner. Thank you for your time. Dr. Rogers, will you take this on behalf of Dr. Lamelza?
I'd be honored to, and thank you so much for your kind comments. And Ms. Biblo, we don't customarily speak about children here, but I'll make an exception in this case to say that Jake has been a joy to get to know for me personally, and he has been an inspiration to everyone who does the arrival duty at the high school because he inspires us all to sing. And the joy that he radiates as we all do renditions of Sweet Caroline or whatever else Dr. Durante has on the box that morning is one of the most joyful ways you could possibly start a day. So it's been a gift to have him here, and we wish him and your family well.
And thank you so much for sharing with us and with the community your experiences and Jake's experiences with the school district and our special needs program. It's important for us to hear, and I'm just so happy for him that he had such a wonderful experience, and saw him on stage at the dance show, and that was amazing too. So thanks so much for sharing, and we wish him all the best. Is there anyone else for audience to the public before we close? Okay, that concludes audience to the public. Okay, we have one discussion item, and that's the installation of field lighting at the turf field. So prior to the budget vote, the board received some correspondence requesting that we approve lights for the turf field. So I wanted to make sure that the community was clear that last November the board had already approved adding lights to the turf field and allocated money for in the budget to pay for that lighting. Now that the community has passed the budget, that project will move forward. Dr. Rogers, can you give us an update on where we stand with that project?
Yes, obviously, we understand that with the change of seasons, it will get darker sooner, and we're trying to race against time so that the lights can be useful in this fall season, not just next spring's season. As with everything else in the construction world, there are two big constraints. The first constraint is that we can't build anything without a building permit, and our building permits come from the State Education Department in Albany. So that serves as the first bottleneck in the process because they are understaffed at this time for doing school approvals, and we're competing with the 700 other school districts in the state. The second bottleneck are the supply chain issues that all the construction industry is experiencing right now. That said, our facilities team has done a tremendous amount of work and research to try and identify ways that they can move this project along by shaving weeks out of the process on the procurement side. So we're a place now where the project was sent up to SED even prior to the budget being approved. SED won't look at the project until the budget is approved, but now that it's approved, it's already up there and has a submission number. We're awaiting approval from them, but we're working now with a contractor who is on a publicly bid contract to get this started right away so that we can give them the go-ahead to order the parts. And then my understanding is some of the parts will come more quickly than others, but at least one of the important parts has about a 10-week lead time on it ordinarily. And so What does all that mean by the time you put a construction schedule in? We're hoping for mid-October is our less optimistic time. Our more optimistic time is the very beginning of October, October 1st. And so the two things that are out of our control are when the State Education Department approves it, and then we can start moving forward with the actual construction, and how long it takes for these long lead time items to find us. So I can tell you that we all recognize that this is a priority. I just want to compliment Greg Hamilton and his team for the creativity that they've found and how to get around, not around, but to work with the procurement constraints that we have as a public entity to try and move as quickly as possible with this priority project.
Thank you, Dr. Rogers. I do have some requests for the board to begin discussing in connection with the turf field, in addition to the lights and also our athletic facilities as a whole. It's come to our attention that the lack of bathroom trailers at the turf field and the far fields behind Southwoods have become an untenable situation. We've got kids who are on the teams that have to walk pretty far to our to our weight room area so that they can go to the bathrooms in the buildings. It's causing delays in games, but more importantly, we've got people who are coming to see their kids and grandkids, and they are put into positions where they can't make it to the bathrooms that we have, and it's really not a situation that we can sustain. It's not fair to the community either. So I'm hoping that we can really talk about bathrooms in those far fields and at our turf field. When we placed Stillwell Fields project on last year's ballot, we recognized several things. We don't have enough field and gym space to service our student athletes or the community. We make do with what we have, but we're not optimizing our space or providing facilities to house all of our teams. What struck me when Shai Fisher spoke was, 60 kids trying out for the tennis team, 11 kids make the team. So we've got tons of kids in all of our athletics that want to play sports or excited about sports, can't play on those teams, but maximizing our field space would potentially give the ability to have more rec teams for our students who aren't on our varsity or JV teams. Adding turf fields to our facilities helps us to maintain consistent practices and games because the fields are play ready, rain or shine, with minimal work needed by our staff. Adding turf to our fields helps us to maximize our field space, allowing for more teams to practice or play at once, allows us to host tournaments, and therefore allows our community teams as well as school teams to consistently play safely, and play on fields that their hard work and dedication deserve. We recognize that because of the limitations of our current fields, we had to bus our students to other fields in order to give them equal time on proper fields. And we recognize that the system is not sustainable because it places us at the mercy of the buses. So I'm hoping that we can talk about improving our fields so that we don't have to bus our kids out. We've got overcrowding in our facilities because they are at times not sufficient to hold the games and those spectators who come to watch. So that's another added reason for putting a focus on our athletic spaces. So I hope that the board can look into whether Stillwell could still be an option, because that kind of expansion is an isolated opportunity that won't come again. But if Stillwell is not on the table for us, I hope that the board begins discussing implementing these facility changes on our own fields. And I'd like the board to also consider a field house or a bubble on our property that can be used for team sports, as well as production, school functions, testing, or presentations and other things, rain or shine. And lastly, we had meetings with many community groups who used our fields, and Stillwell to properly serve the children in our community. So should the board continue to discuss what can be done to improve and expand our facilities, I would recommend periodic forums or workshops to foster a mutual understanding of the needs and limitations of the work. Does anyone else have anything to say about this topic? Rob?
Unfortunately, I can say from personal experience that we definitely need bathrooms closer to the field. I broke my personal record for the 100-yard dash, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that for many more years. So I second the request for outdoor restroom facilities. And of course, I agree with everything else Tracy had to say, as usual.
Ms. Falkov.
I also think that the fact that we have so many kids who want to take part in the sports program, but they don't have a place. Our teams are amazing and they're so competitive, and that's wonderful. But having a place for everybody to play is really should be of extreme importance. It gives, kids who want to be part of the community and want to feel connected to the school and want to have a place to go after school and something to do that maybe aren't as athletically talented as our amazing athletes that we have. But, I know in junior high school, the boys volleyball team, I think there are 80 kids who tried out and a very small number made it. And you don't know which kids are going to flourish when they get older. And I think it really discourages kids from taking part in things. And being part of a sports team is so important for so many reasons. The friendships you make, something to do, a support system, that having the intramural or rec teams is really something that we should look into finding a way to accommodate. So everybody who wants to play a sport has a place to play as part of as a team, even if it's not on varsity and playing at that competitive level, which is amazing, but there needs to be a place for the other kids too, not just, the best of the best.
Okay. Anyone else? Lisa?
I know that we have a couple of months off now as far as the sports and athletics go, but is there something that we could think of for the fall that maybe we could brainstorm some ideas like porta potties or something that we could temporarily put near, like in a centralized area for the field, so that at least for the fall season, we have something that spectators and or kids could use. I know porta potties aren't exactly, where everybody wants to use the bathroom, but if it's an emergency, everybody will use it. So I'm just thinking if we could possibly, looking forward for the fall, because it's right here, if we could find something temporarily until we could maybe have some other plan.
So I think, Lisa, one point we had discussed the trailers, those portable bathroom trailers that were nice inside and clean, and that my mom would use and your grandmother. So I don't know if that's something that would be a temporary fix, because obviously it's very difficult to get somebody in a wheelchair to the bathroom. I agreed with everything you said, Tracy, by the way. I think having the more fields also would lead to gender equity, since, the girls, obviously our stars that are on the girls' teams get equal treatment. They get to play on the turf teams too. And having, as you had said, everybody participate, that's better for diversity, because again, we want to recognize everyone gets a chance to play, not just our superstars. So I think it's important.
Anyone else? Okay, thanks everybody for that. Yes.
I'll just respond. I was familiarized with the idea of the trailer comfort stations during the Stillwell project, and in recognition of some of the email that the board has received, Mr. Hamilton's already started researching whether there are some trailers that we can use, and we're thinking about maybe one of them being located down by the softball field, which is furthest from the building, and then possibly locating another one closer to the bleachers on the turf field. And we did We did upgrade where we were at by making outdoor bathrooms available in the first place at the fitness center. Prior to that, there were none at all. So we're making steps, and we can continue to do work to make more available.
Okay, thank you. Good to hear. All right, there's no unfinished business. The following is new business. A1 is the approval of appointment transfers, resignations, retirements for certified and civil service staff. May I have a motion, please? Ms. Falco, seconded by Ms. Levitan. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? A2 is the approval of the appointment of interim administrator per diem, Charlie Cardillo. May I have a motion, please? Ms. Koshia, seconded by Dr. Park. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah? Oh, good, 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 okay. A3 is the approval of the acting elementary principal, Kelly Morgan. May I have a motion, please? Ms. Koshia, seconded by Mr. Gershon. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? Congratulations, Kelly Morgan. Thank you. Thanks for all you did this year. We really appreciate it. A4 is the appointment of an assistant summer school principal, Anthony DiPaolo. May I have a motion, please? Dr. Park, seconded by Mr. Gershon. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? Is Mr. DiPaolo here? Okay. Well, congratulations, Mr. DiPaolo. A5 is the appointment of summer guidance counselors. May I have a motion, please? Mr. Rotolo, seconded by Mr. Greco. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? A6 is the approval of 2022-23 stipends and hourly rate activities. May I have a motion, please? Dr. Park, seconded by Ms. Chang. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? A7 is the approval of additional pay for coaches during the spring. May I have a motion, please? Mr. Greco, seconded by Ms. Falkov. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? A8 is the approval of driver education 2022-23. May I have a motion, please? Ms. Koshia, seconded by Ms. Chang. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? A9 is the approval of salary adjustments for unaligned staff. May I have a motion, please? Mr. Rotolo, seconded by Ms. Levitan. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? A10 is the approval of employment agreements for unaligned staff. May I have a motion, please? Dr. Park, seconded by Ms. Koshia. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? B1 is the approval of recommendations from the committees on special education. May I have a motion, please? Mr. Rotolo, seconded by Mr. Greco. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? B2 is the approval of recommendations from the committees on preschool special education. May I have a motion, please? Ms. Koshia, seconded by Dr. Park. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? B3 is the certification of vote. May I have a motion, please? Mr. Rotolo, seconded by Ms. Levitan. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? B4 is the first reading of the Code of Character, Conduct, and Support, Investments, and Purchasing Policies. May I have a motion, please? Ms. Koshia, seconded by Dr. Park. Are there any questions? Okay, this is going to be voted on at the July 6, 2022 meeting. Copies of the proposed policies will be available for inspection on the district website. B5 is the appointment of a board of registration for 22-23. May I have a motion, please? Ms. Falco, seconded by Mr. Rotolo. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? C1 is the authorization of service contracts. May I have a motion, please? Ms. Koshia, seconded by Dr. Park. Are there any questions? Sorry. All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? C2 is the authorization of special education and nursing contracts. May I have a motion, please? Mr. Greco, seconded by Ms. Falkov. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? C3 is the authorization of health and welfare services. May I have a motion, please? Dr. Park, seconded by Ms. Chang. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? C4 is the authorization for insurance policies. May I have a motion, please? Mr. Greco, seconded by Mr. Rotolo. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? C5 is the acceptance of audit report and corrective action plan year ending June 30th, 21. May I have a motion, please? Mr. Gershon, seconded by Ms. Koshia. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? C6 is the tax anticipation note resolution of Syosset Central School District, adopted June 13th, 2022, authorizing the issuance of tax anticipation notes not to exceed $40 million in anticipation of the receipt of taxes to be levied for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2023. May I have a motion, please? Ms. Cheng, seconded by Mr. Gershon. Are there any questions? Okay, this is going to be a roll call vote, so I'm going to identify each of you separately, and you'll say yes or no. Ms. Frankel, yes. Mr. Rotolo? Yes. Ms. Chang? Yes. Ms. Koshia? Yes. Ms. Falkov? Yes. Ms. Gershon? Mr. Gershon? Yes. Mr. Greco? Yes. Ms. Levitan? Dr. Park? C7 is the authorization to enter into agreements for builder's risk and installation insurance. May I have a motion, please? Ms. Chang, seconded by Dr. Park. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? C8 is the authorization to participate in a joint municipal cooperative bidding program. May I have a motion, please? Mr. Greco, seconded by Ms. Falkov. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? C9 is the award of bids. May I have a motion, please? Dr. Park, seconded by Ms. Koshia. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? C10 and 11 can be taken together. They're the authorizations for deduct change orders for Inshallah Mechanical Corp. and Stalco Construction. May I have a motion, please? Mr. Greco, seconded by Ms. Falkov. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? C12 is the approval of a settlement of litigation. May I have a motion, please? Ms. Chang, seconded by Dr. Park. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? C13 is the approval of a settlement. May I have a motion, please? Ms. Falkov, seconded by Ms. Levitan. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? C14 and 15 can be taken together. They're the acceptance of donations. May I have a motion, please? Ms. Koshia, seconded by Mr. Gershon. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? C16 is the acceptance of the disposal of broken surplus and or obsolete equipment and books. May I have a motion, please? Mr. Greco, seconded by Mr. Rotolo. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? C17 is the authorization to establish limit to fund budgetary reserves for year ending 22-23. May I have a motion, please? Ms. Chang, seconded by Dr. Park. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? C18 is the authorization to return funds to the capital reserve. May I have a motion, please? Mr. Greco, seconded by Ms. Levitan. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? C19 is the authorization for the amendment of the Johnson Controls Inc. contracts. May I have a motion, please? Dr. Park, seconded by Mr. Gershon. Are there any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion to adjourn. Good night, everyone.